How's it going, everyone? Rival Indigo here. Just had a few late night topics to cover. Sitting here playing Pokemon on my Switch and Pokemon Go on my phone, and pretty much just Pokemon everywhere, really. But the thing is, I'm not just a Pokemon gamer. Like, by far, it's probably the thing I play the most, especially these days. And if I'm not playing a Pokemon game, I'm generally doing something regarding Pokemon trading cards or surfing YouTube about Pokemon. Like, it's kind of everything and everywhere right now for me. However, the fact is I'm actually a pretty hardcore gamer on Xbox. I play a lot of, quite a variety of games actually, especially with Game Pass. I love racing games, shooters, sci-fi horror games, RPGs, like basically a little bit of everything. There's certainly genres I really don't like, but for the most part, I like a little of everything. And so some of the things I wanted to talk about is Backlog. Like right now, and honestly for years, I've been sitting on a pretty extensive backlog of games. Games both that I own and games that I've downloaded from Game Pass that I've intended to play. And it's actually gotten kind of bad. Like, I haven't finished Halo Infinite yet. I'm a huge Halo fan, and I was definitely enjoying it. There's games I have owned for, let's say 4 years, probably. Maybe even longer. My backlog actually extends back to the Xbox 360 at this point. That's not counting, like, recent retro game purchases I've bought, I've had for the original Xbox, but I actually have owned games from the time of the Xbox 360 that I either have not started, have not finished. Like, I own the entire Final Fantasy 13 series, the entire trilogy of those games, and I believe I'm partway into the first one. And I've owned all those games since they came out on the Xbox 360, and I've just never taken the time to get into them. I have a bunch of games for 360, honestly, that I've wanted to play for years. I've got a bunch of Xbox One games on my Series X that I've intended to play for a long time. Metro Exodus being a big one. I played, I believe it was Metro 2042 on the 360. Or maybe it was the second one. I can't quite remember at the moment. But then when they remastered them on the Xbox One, I purchased them again, and I was like, hey, I want to start at the beginning and play through them, this whole series from the beginning, because Metro Exodus is coming out, and I want to be ready to play that one. That never panned out. I think I started the first game. I'm several hours into it. Still haven't finished it. I've got games like the 2016 Doom that I've still never finished, and I have Doom Eternal that I could easily download on Game Pass and play as well. So it's just to give some examples. There's a lot more than that, though. A lot more. I still haven't finished Borderlands 3, and I'm a huge Borderlands fan. Borderlands 2 is one of the greatest games of all time, and 3, I know there's criticisms, but I just don't understand them. So just in general, I have a pretty huge backlog of games. And like I said, it goes back multiple generations at this point. So, I mean, it's kind of cool to have the collection, but at the same time, it feels kind of sad to be like, why haven't I played these games? And I've been thinking about that because lately, I have just lacked motivation to game. And it's not that I'm not gaming. I mean, I'm sitting there on my Switch every single night, riding my bicycle around in circles in Shining Pearl to gather Yanma eggs and then hatch them because I really, really, really want a shiny Yanma. I've gotten a bunch of other shinies that I want to raise, and shiny Yanma is one of my favorite bug-type Pokemon, and I really want that in my party so I can raise it as well. And I just refuse to go raise the rest of my shiny Pokemon until I have, like, at least that one. There's others I would like, but that right there I'd be pretty happy to get going. I've got a shiny Beldum and shiny Doduo, several other shinies. that I want to put into a party all together, give them Pokerus, and go start, killing Pokemon to get their levels up. Anyways, so I'm playing that, and every day I play tons of Pokemon Go. The Bug Out challenge, Bug Out event right now is probably one of my favorite things ever because I love bug-type Pokemon. So I do have that going. It's just for whatever reason, I will come home, or I'll be at home if I'm off, and I will turn my Xbox on, and I'm like, I'm going to play a game, right? But then every single time, I just fall into this trap. I turn on YouTube, I find something to listen to, something to watch, informative, stupid, silly, whatever it is, and then I turn on my Switch and I start playing Pokemon. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, because I'm not unhappy with Pokemon in any kind of way. It's just, I know I'm missing out on some really awesome stuff. For instance, I downloaded, there's this trilogy of, I believe they're Shadowrun tactical RPGs, or turn-based RPGs, something like that, that were previously on PC and they came to Xbox Game Pass. So I have those downloaded. I've been intending to play them. I was super interested in it. It's very much something up my alley, and for whatever reason, I'll come home and be like, all right, maybe I should play those. And then I don't. So I don't know what this little lull is right now. It's not as if there isn't plenty of awesome stuff out there to play. Maybe there's just too much. I'm not sure. But I think part of it too is on me, or on my life. I'm kind of going through some employment changes right now. Like, I'm currently employed, but it wasn't enough. Like, the hours were getting cut. So now I'm trying to transition into a new job. So I'm going through training for that. And I typically have this problem where if I'm not fulfilled work-wise, and what I mean by that is I'm not making enough money, I'm not getting enough hours, whatever's going on, I have a hard time being motivated to then come home and sit down or wake up in the morning and be like, all right, I'm going to game. I'm just not one of those people. I have to feel like I accomplished my work, and I have to feel like there's money coming to cover the bills. I've done my adulting. I hate that term, but it applies. I've done my adulting, and now I feel like I've earned this time. If I'm only being scheduled twice a week, then I have a hard time waking up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and having that energy to go, all right, cool, I'm off today. Time to play video games all day. I just can't do it because it doesn't feel like I've earned it, right? So, I mean, I fill the other time with, I'll go to the gym and I'll do yard work and various other things, but it's not quite the same. So I feel like maybe once I get back into a regular pattern of work again, I'll have a little bit more motivation to get home from work and be like, oh man, I need to unwind. It's time to play some Halo or, something, right? So there's been a lack of motivation. And the easy thing to do is to just sit, turn on the Switch, repeat those patterns of riding the bicycle or running around grass patches or whatever, and watch or listen to YouTube. Again, I'm not saying this is necessarily bad. It's just not who I am in general, and it's not as fulfilling, in my opinion, as what I normally do. So the YouTube thing, though, on the plus side, I feel like when I got into doing YouTube a couple years ago, I had a head start because I watch a lot of YouTube. I had watched a lot of PokeTubers. I had watched a lot of comedy YouTube and just educational YouTube, listen to podcasts. So, and I've done plenty of social media over the years. I grew up a MySpace kid, and I mean, I was using the internet long before that as well. But as a teenager, I was a MySpace kid. And grew up into Facebook and Twitter. From the start, I was on Twitter. I had multiple profiles on Twitter where I had earned over 1,000 followers and had pretty decent reach into different industries where I could talk to people, and it was interesting. But I have a Twitter now, mainly just as to hold my username, and just to have contact with some of the other people that are out there, other creators and stuff, just so for networking purposes primarily. I have zero interest in that sort of social media. I've talked about that before. But back to YouTube, I'm not inexperienced at this. Like, I've been doing this for 2 years already as a YouTuber, or I guess you'd call it. And social media, I'm very experienced at. But I feel like I'm the type of person who also just absorbs experience from watching and listening to other people do things. You know, there's people that learn hands-on, which I can do. I'm a very articulate person with communication and things like that already. So when I watch other people make that kind of content, I can pick up on the cues. I can pick up on what it is they're doing that works. So I will say that with the lack of motivation to play video games, and then just sitting and watching or listening to YouTube, I am learning. You know, like whether it's just what not to do, what, like, I pick out things and go, I don't like that, and I don't think it's a very good thing, or the things that are fairly successful, presentation, you know, the procedure for things, like just a really simple thing, and it's kind of like just a microcosm. But PokeTubers, for instance, on YouTube, social media, wherever, when you are opening a pack of cards, do not show the back of the code card, right? Slide that off, take it off screen, you know, show the code if you're giving that away, and then move it off screen. Don't even show yourself, because it takes away kind of part of your natural reaction. And then you take that little stack of cards, and yeah, somebody's going to see a common or an uncommon. No one really cares. If you see a skitty or something, flip it over. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. Put those cards in the front, flip it back over. Your energy card should be on the front. So what you're doing now, by not revealing whether or not that pack of cards has a hollow card or better, like that's what the current cycle, if the code card has like the white border on the back and everything, that means you're going to get at the very least a holographic card, and possibly something above that. If it's a black bordered or primarily black card in this cycle, then it means you're not getting a hollow or better. You're just going to get your reverse rare, and then your reverse hollow, and your rare is just going to be plain old rare. Nothing special, no special inserted cards, nothing. So if you're trying to leave that kind of suspense for your viewers to make it more entertaining for them, and to get more of a reaction from yourself when you get something good, which is of course more entertaining for your viewers, that's the correct procedure to do it. I see too many people where they open the pack, they slide them out, and you see the back of the code card right away, and you're like, oh, well, there's nothing in that pack. Why sit here and watch it? There's no suspense, there's no excitement, you know? There's no like drama to it. But that's just a very small thing. Very small thing. There's so many other examples, but it was something I picked up right away from watching Leonhardt, from watching Max Mofo Pokemon. What was her name? Pokeboo or Caribou, something like that. But I would watch all these people do this, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's how you open a pack of Pokemon cards on screen, you know, so that it's entertaining. And so from the very first time I opened Pokemon cards, I knew to do that. So there's definitely learning that you can get from entertaining yourself using YouTube, as long as you're paying attention and you have that kind of mind where you're like, oh, that's the right way to do things, you know? Or if you see something that's not really right and you're like, why'd they do that? I shouldn't do that. So there's definitely something to be learned from that. But at the same time, I don't feel like it's the most healthy situation, you know? Massive backlog of games, a lack of motivation to play them, doing nothing but Pokemon all the time. Again, that one's hard to complain about because I do absolutely love Pokemon. And then the YouTube thing, I love YouTube as an outlet, and it's my primary media entertainment as well. I don't watch streaming services. I don't sit and watch movies at home, even though I own my favorite movies. But I don't sit and watch things like that because I'm like, well, it feels like a waste of time. If I'm going to sit here and stare at a movie, I might as well play a video game. And if I'm gonna not play a video game on my Xbox, I can do something on my phone or on my Switch, and I can turn on YouTube on my TV, you know, that I don't have to be totally absorbed into like a movie. So I have a hard time just sitting and watching shows, sitting and watching movies. So I listen to or watch YouTube. So I really need to get back into gaming. I feel like it's a healthy thing for me. It's always been an outlet for my imagination, for stress, for just having a good time in general. Like hopping online and playing some Halo Infinite, getting some good kills and recording some highlights. I mean, I haven't done a Halo Infinite multiplayer montage or highlight reel in a long time, and I have fun editing those. That's pretty cool. So anyways, if you're like me and you're experiencing something like this, my suggestion is figure out what it is in your life that's causing you to lack that motivation. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I know what that problem is for me. And once I get that sorted out here shortly, hopefully in the next week or so, I might feel more encouragement, more like I earned the right to just sit and be like, I'm going to kill time and play a video game because I did my work this week. Everything's good. So anyways, gonna stop rambling now, but hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you have similar experiences or anything of the like, or maybe just comments and suggestions, go ahead and leave those below, leave a like, and subscribe for more content.